Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer and this is the UK Northern Powerhouse on Transport Fever 2. This is going to be episode number 25 in the series, and in this episode I'd like to get the Midland Main Line built down towards Derby, maybe not towards Nottingham as well, but we'll just have to see how we get on as the episode progresses. And that bus has to go up quite a steep hill, doesn't it? Yeah, that's not looking that good, but I think I'm inclined to improve that somehow. Yeah, let's just quickly improve that before we start, because I don't like the way it looks. I mean, it is tricky, but yeah, we'll demolish half of Sheffield. Hopefully it will regrow. But yeah, that just looked awful, and I know what the game will do its best to. Maybe if we put something on there. Because what the game will try and do, it'll try and build an intersection or a junction just to spoil things. So let's build one for it, and hopefully it won't try and build another. But you never know what the AI is going to do, so we will just have to wait and see on that one. But that looks a little bit better anyway. Let's just get another road in. Across there, it's terrain, paint. Let's get rid of some of that paint there, and then just do a little bit of smoothing around here. That looks, it's not great, but it's better than it was. So yeah, that hill's not too bad, I don't think. The bus isn't going to get stuck somewhere in the middle. But yeah, we're getting away from the main point, which is we want to get the line down towards Nottingham, Derby, Chesterfield. So where is that? So that comes in there. Don't have to do too much demolition, just want to pause the game, just take a little bit of corner off Chesterfield here. That looks not actually too bad, and then we want a station. I haven't looked what Chesterfield station looks like actually, but it probably wants to be 240 metres long. Blue maybe, and just chuck it. Hold on, is that? No, that's alright. Just make sure we're facing in the correct direction before we actually place the station, and we'll put it about there. Might have to do a little bit more demolition. And before I forget tracks, let's get rid of, that's the one you want. We want to get rid of the electrification, and we want to remember to turn electrification off for the Midland Main Line. And then, so we're going to have, we'll just send 2 tracks out like that, nice and straightforward, nothing too complicated. And then if you just bring it from about there, maybe what sort of speed we get. I mean, it doesn't have to be 186 miles per hour, but just want a nice gentle slope as we approach the station there. So it wants to be 4 track for a little bit. Obviously the scale's off, it would run a bit more, and then it would run 4 tracks for a bit longer than it is on this, but obviously because the scale is off, that's not good, is it? Oh no, actually, because it's coming into that junction anyway. 80. I don't want to come back too far, because I would like the 4 track to run. Maybe if we curve the 4 track towards that spur, like that. 98, 101. It's coming into, or coming away from a station anyway, so that's alright. I think I will live with that, because that corner there as it's coming in, that's going to be dead slow anyway. And then I guess if we just follow it for a little bit, maybe not then, follow for a little bit. 50, what? That's unnecessary. What's going on there? Right, it just doesn't want us to connect the tracks, does it? 186, 110. Guess I will live with that. Not quite sure why it was being so actually no, we can't curve it that way anyway. take it all back, start again, do a little bit of smoothing there. Right, so from about here, come in 108, 100, that's fine because it's slowing down anyway, or accelerating depending on which way the train is going. And then we're just going to have a short section of 4 track, I think, before it bends off. About 125, because we will, I'm not sure actually what we'll have operating on this, because we haven't got, where does this go to? Off towards Retford, possibly? Oh no, it goes round the back of Sheffield. I need to do some more research about the train tracks around Sheffield and Rotherham, because it looks a bit complicated to me, but there is a track that seems to loop back round on itself and then come down here, and then there's tracks that go off towards Retford as well, so I'm just going to leave that spur in there for now. But I just noticed it is 4 track, and then as it comes out of Chesterfield it's 4 track, I guess, down towards where it splits off again, and we're going to have to put some sort of switches in, crossings, I guess, if they're going to split off again. So yeah, it doesn't go straight, but it comes down and then it splits off again. But what I do want is, I think if I put that track in there to there like that, and do something, is that the same? Yeah, it is, that's fine. Do some sort of crossing system. It probably would be done actually. Yeah, we can do that. So if any trains coming down this section want to go towards Nottingham for whatever reason, which they will do, because we've got the Liverpool Norwich service which will eventually be operating, we'll want to switch over to, now let's do about, that's about right. So we'll have them switch, and then if any trains coming from that direction want to go to Derby, then we'll have them switch before the station, and I think that is going to force a lot of services onto these 2 platforms. It's not the end of the world, so I think that's the best solution for that, because trains are going to want to diverge off to different directions, but we're going to want some signalling. I think I'll put a signal, so these are going to be a pair of up downs, aren't they? And then I think I'll have a signal there, and that's going to be a down line towards Sheffield, and we'll do something, so we've got 2 up lines here. We've got, that one doesn't need a signal, but I'll put one there, and then we've got the 2 down lines. I'll put a signal there and one there, and then we can start. All this road's got to be demolished anyway. I'll rebuild this. Sometimes it is actually quicker to demolish road and rebuild it, rather than upgrading and then having to unlock every single segment of road. So we'll rebuild all this in a modern asphalt surface for them, and that will improve their road connections and make them grow a little bit more. And then coming from there, we can have a pair of tracks going off towards, oh, I'll allow it, but it needs to be in a higher speed. 180, it doesn't need to be that slow, does it? 125. Yeah, so we don't have any HSTs, and someone is working on a 222 for the Midland Main Line, but I'm not sure when that's going to be released, so I'm not sure what I'm going to operate on services heading down the Midland Main Line just yet. So yeah, to Derby is pretty. I think what I'll do with Derby is just build a temporary station. There wants to be a railway station. That helps, doesn't it? So I'll put in a temporary station into Derby like that, and then we'll just I think just a pair of tracks just completely as the crow flies, maybe just see what sort of route it gives us. Yeah, that's all looking a bit hideous. Right, we'll go with that. I'm not sure if there are any tunnels, but we'll have one at least, and then I'll do a bit of terrain modification, get that sorted out at some point. Have I put that into the right track? I have. Good. And then I'll just chuck a quick diamond crossing in there, and that's just temporary. Obviously, Derby will have to be completely rebuilt at some stage. Okie dokie, so done a little bit of smoothing so it doesn't look as bad, but I need to do a lot more off camera. I will do that. And then we want to head down to Nottingham, which is on its side. Where does it want to be? I think I will have it. Actually, so that comes down. That will swing down. No, it won't. We're talking about me. We do have Loughborough. I was thinking about doing maybe the East Midlands Parkway. Could be tricky getting that into place before we get to Loughborough, because I've kind of dumped Loughborough right on the edge of the map. But yeah, we'll get again. I think Nottingham wants to be a temporary station, something like, let's just chuck it straight on the road straight away, maybe down a little bit. No. Tracks. Just trying to figure out my my drawing of them, of the routes. We do have a piece of track that comes off sort of like that, and then I guess it wants to that would actually head off towards East Midlands Parkway, I think, and then we do need a junction in here. I think we'll have it about here. Maybe it might be a bit closer to the station, but just want keep it flat. Just check what that looks like. Oh no! Right, into there. Yeah, that needs to be flat because we want another junction coming off towards the East Midlands Parkway, Derby direction, from about here to there. Yeah, not. I try and do as much research as I can when I'm thinking about building a new section of track, but I'm not really familiar with the Midland Main Line or this part of the world at all. Just over by Manchester, Liverpool, that's all I'm pretty familiar, relatively familiar with that area, but this sort of arrangement I'm not. So that map that I've created of all the services helps a little bit, but it's not perfect. So that would be come down. Right, okie dokie. So we'll have to trying to make head nor tail of this map that I've drawn, but that needs to be above ground, needs to be flat, I think. And I think that heads off somewhere. Just, yeah, don't want tunnels, please. 110, no, that's... Where does that track go to? Not sure. But it goes somewhere, so I'll put that in flat, like that. And then we need to do just a little bit of smoothing. We need to get rid of those two little bits of track. Right, get all that smooth. So yeah, so I've done as much research as I can, but sometimes the map that I've drawn doesn't quite make sense. But as far as I can make out, there is a junction like that, which wants to be flat, please, and maybe a bit faster. 60 I think will do. We'll have to do. Alright then. Come on, just into there, like that. That's better. And then this can just go. Can it? Don't think it can. It just wants to do tunnels. Right, I'll do another couple of gouges. Actually, I think, and then that into there. It is probably a little bit slower than I would have liked, but sometimes you can't quite just get in the speed you want within the space that we've got. Right, get that into there. Get a little bit of a tunnel here as well. No, I think the Midland Main Line isn't really famous for being the terrain being that difficult. It is a relatively straight track, I think. Yeah, especially when it's compared to the West Coast Main Line. So there should be some decent 125 sections, although we do need to find some stock that will run at those sort of speeds until the 222 meridians come out, so we'll get that in there. I'm not sure exactly where that stub goes off to, but I'm sure it goes somewhere important. Yeah, so that comes into there. We do need some signals, don't we? So we'll put one there, one there. I don't actually know. I was just about to say I don't think there's too many services that turn around, but I think I'm just going to have to push. When I rebuild Nottingham, I'm going to have to push it up a little bit more. But I think for now it's just a temporary measure. Let's get a bit more of that track in. Let's just I just want to take a close look at that junction. Just make sure it is relatively flat. Is it? Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. And again, we're going to want some signals. There's one there, and then a couple more. Oh, they're not one way. Right, we'll have to manually do that then. Right. Yes, one way, please. I think Nottingham wants just a quick diamond crossing, just so we can get some services up and running. The construction not possible. Yes, it is. It's dead easy. Just dead. It's not that complicated. Oh, almost. There we are. There we are. That's not hard, is it? Right, just put yes, one way. Right, so we put signals in everywhere, and they're not one way, so we need to quickly change those, and these as well. Now the service I put in over the Hope Valley line in the last episode, I was assuming it's eventually going to be the Liverpool Lime Street to Norwich service, which would call Nottingham and then Grantham. Obviously we haven't got Norwich on this map, but that service, as far as I can make out, it doesn't always stop at Bamford, so I was wondering I might build the other bit of the line which comes from Manchester Piccadilly and then joins, I think, around here. It's going to be, actually no, saying that's not too bad. So there is a northern service which comes out and calls all the little villages on a line, then joins the Hope Valley line, calls Bamford and then Sheffield, and I might just make this service which is operating at the minute not call at Bamford, just so it's a little bit realistic. I think some of the services in the hour do call throughout the day, do call at Bamford, but not all of them, so I might put in that second bit of line. I mean, it would be nice to have it anyway, but I wasn't going to build it just because there are no towns for it to serve, but as there is a service that kind of uses the little branch that goes off, then I think I will build it basically in order to get that northern service. I think it's just Manchester to Piccadilly, all stopping service to Sheffield. Too much slope. No, there isn't. It's fine. Yes, there is. Wow. Okay. Can I just get a little bit of a... Yeah, that's quite steep, and that's going to be quite horrendous, but we just want to get the station connected up like so. Might be the final iteration of that station, because it is just a 4-track station anyway. But we can, I think I might just extend this service. Now, that's the other thing I couldn't work out, is if the East Midlands Railway service, East Midlands Railway from Liverpool Lime Street to Norwich, actually, I think it does reverse at Sheffield, but there is an option to come round as well as like a loop that comes out the back of Sheffield, but it probably doesn't do that, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll keep it calling it Bamford for now, just because I want Bamford to grow. But we're going to come from Sheffield, going to call Chesterfield, and then down to Nottingham, Chesterfield, and then Sheffield again, and then we'll keep it calling it Bamford for now, just while we're growing Bamford. I might just put that northern service in off camera, but I think just to differentiate these, we'll have 8 calling at 5 or 4, it doesn't really matter, so that comes in, backs off, and then we've got Chesterfield and Nottingham and Sheffield all linked up by one service. I am going to have to put on a couple more trains, I gather that, but we can unpause the game at least. Chesterfield's linked up, Derby wants a service of some description as well, but I just want to make sure we need to rebuild all the roads as well, don't we, because we demolished them all. Right, let's just join that up, straighten a road into there. Okay, you start building your own roads then, that's fine. Right, so what did we demolish? Lots of roads. Right, so let's get Matlock connected up with some country road. No, not straight. Yeah, I'll do a little bit more research into how Nottingham and Derby stations look, but I just want to get services in place for now. Wow, don't want to be spending too much on this road. I know roads are important in Transport Fever 2 because you're connecting the towns up. Oh yeah, let's just let them have a little bridge. Connectivity is key, even if it's by a private transport, then so be it. It all helps grow the towns that we're trying to serve. So we'll get that connected up, and then we'll run off a road from Matlock. Need to turn that off towards Chesterfield. This was just supposed to be a little bit of a quick job, just to get the towns connected up and to put the connections back in that I'd demolished. Right, so just chuck that into there like that, and then come down here like that, and just connect that up. Where else? That's all connected up. Maybe if we put in a bypass, maybe. For now, the game will try and turn that into something eventually anyway. I'm not going to take ownership of that road because I don't want to pay for it, and then just connect all this up again so they're not they've stopped complaining anyway, but we will improve the connections for this part of the area. Get that in there, not to there, and everyone is happy. They're all connected up. They're still connected up because you haven't demolished any roads yet. So that's all fine. I think I will just... Have we got any... What are you? Liverpool to Sheffield. That wants to be... Yeah, we'll just put a question mark in front of that, because that goes to Nottingham at the minute. It will go to Grantham eventually, I'm assuming. That's from the service pattern. I've deleted the depot. That's not good, is it? Right, depot. It's going to want at least 2 more trains, I think, on this service, as we have an autosave. Yeah, so we need to put at least 1 more train on. Let's just pause it a minute. Diesel, no, multiple units. Got all the turbo stars available now. Regional rails. What have we got? We got some of these. That is what I didn't know. What the East Midlands Railway, what it would have been in we're at 2000. Actually, let's slow the years down a little bit. I'm just going to put a Regional Railways Express on for now. No, not two together. I just want to buy two. And they want 25% maintenance and unpause the game, chuck that on. That one. Yeah, not entirely sure what it would be. I mean, historically 158s have offer. Oh yeah, that's fine. He's going to hopefully turn around. Not sure what that purple service is. Never mind. Yeah, I'm going to, because what I've done on my map is the East Midlands Railway Services. I know it's purple maroon now. Oh yeah, it's fine. Just turn around. You can link up. Can you? No. You can. Definitely can. If it just... oh no. That's an up down. Right. That's frustrating. Right. Which train are you? Can I sell you vehicle management? That was an expensive mistake. Yeah, I deleted the depot around here for some reason, and that was a bit of a silly idea, wasn't it? Right, let's pause the game. Yeah, I just quickly want to put a couple of trains on. That's not should be relatively straightforward. Right, chuck that out to there. Just a temporary depot. I would like to have more permanent depots, which look a little bit better. But at the minute, yeah, get rid of that. At the minute, I'm just kind of building what's needed. So it's a Regional Railways Express. Add to 25%. Just send you off to begin with. Which direction are you going in? He's going in that direction. That's good. Is there anything heading in this direction? Not yet. So we'll just wait for him to go off, and then I'm going to schedule the other train in, and then I'm going to call that done, I think. Yeah, so put that other train on the service now. Yeah, that junction's awful. He's on his way. What I was saying before I kind of got distracted is I'm going to have the East Midlands Railway in the old East Midlands trains kind of orange colours, just to differentiate them against the Transpennine, which are going to be using the purples and pinks, and the Avanti, which are going to be using kind of maroons and greeny colours as well. So just to differentiate those. Got a few comments about Stockport. I will eventually 4-track all this properly. It's going to be electrified, and I'm going to sort out all that as we get off, because we've got to go to Macclesfield, Crewe, and across the Mid Cheshire line as well. We can represent that because we do have Hertford. I got a lot of comments about Hertford saying, why is it on the map? It's on the map because it's, I think, on an important junction between Hertford Station and, actually no, I don't think it will be Hertford Station, but there's a it just helps in order to justify building the Mid Cheshire line, which obviously comes across and then comes over into Stockport as well. So this whole area, the whole Manchester Piccadilly down to Stockport Throat, needs to be rebuilt. Obviously, because we've got to go to Glossop, we need the line that goes off to Huddersfield, and now we need the new line which comes across here, and I think it comes in about between the two tunnels. So it's going to come in here, and that's going to have a northern service operating between Piccadilly and Sheffield via Bamford. And I think what will eventually be the East Midlands Railway services are going to be non-stop all the way, well, non-stop between Stockport and Sheffield. So I've still got a little bit of research to do with regards to the Nottingham approach. I'm not entirely sure this is accurate, and I need to look what Derby looks like and decide. Actually, no, that does look completely wrong now I'm looking at it, but I don't know, do I want East Midlands Parkway? Because I'm just thinking, if I do eventually get around to building any of HS2 or the Northern Powerhouse Railway, then East Midlands Parkway is going to be pretty important, really, because it's going to be the first main station. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to build HS2. Okie dokie, so after I recorded that episode and I wasn't happy with how it looked, I knew there was something not quite right about it, so I went back and did a little bit more research and drew a more accurate diagram. The diagrams are helpful in trying to recreate and simplify the railways, because obviously it's not to scale, so it's not going to use every single railway and all the correct alignments, but I did want it to look a little bit more how it does in real life. So yeah, we've got coming down from Chesterfield here where it splits off on the 4 track. From the way it looks to me, there's a section of track that comes down here, and then here around in this location would be East Midlands Parkway, and then to get over to Nottingham there seems to be like a series of cross connectors. So the service coming down from Sheffield come down here and use this cross connector to get over onto this junction into Nottingham, which still needs to be rebuilt. And then there's another cross connector here which heads up to Mansfield, and then this comes up, and then there will be eventually, when I've done the research around the Sheffield Rotherham corridor, there's like a loop that comes round, heads off towards Retford, and then this section of track, which I didn't know where it went, goes Mansfield and then comes in to another junction where you can either go to Sheffield or Retford. So I think I've managed to get it to look a little bit better. Potentially now I might actually do East Midlands Parkway. I know it's not much of a run before we get to Loughborough, but it is an important intersection. Derby I might move up a little bit just so I can get, it looks to me like there's like almost a hard left hand turn if you were heading south, and then that comes into to around here. So yeah, just a bit of an update, because I left that this particular episode, because it's still the episode, not satisfied with how the route looked, and I'm a bit more satisfied with how it's looking now. Like I said during the episode recording, I'm not overly 100% familiar with this part of the world, so the research definitely does help, and it helps if I draw a more accurate diagram of the actual rail route and how things all connect into each other. So there we are, there's the new Nottingham corridor that I've built, and I'm going to leave you with this 158, and then I'm going to say again, until next time, bye bye.